What is up, everybody? How's it going? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. Again, sorry about the lighting, but it'll keep changing throughout the video because there's not much I can do about it. But happy February, and hopefully, you guys are doing great. Today, I want to talk about unfinished games and patches and discuss everything about them because there's been a lot on my mind in terms of like what I've been thinking about this and kind of like what's been going on. So, as you know, there have been so many games released throughout the years where they're just unfinished at launch. They're broken, full of bugs, glitches, crashes, or they're just not the full game as it was intended to be. Many games like this include Anthem, Fallout 76, Battlefield 2042, Cyberpunk 2077, Anthem, Avengers, the list goes on and on. And I'm going to kind of talk about, I don't know, let's talk about Cyberpunk. Let's just give that example. And let's say yeah, they lied and deceived people. That's a whole nother topic. But I want to talk about the thing where it was just unfinished at launch. It was so buggy, glitchy. It wasn't the full game. And people are like, well, it got fixed later on and it's now a good game. My argument and what I want to defend is that no, it's now a good game, but it was never a good game at launch. It was never supposed to be this buggy and glitchy at launch. It was supposed to be a great game. And that's what triggers me is that people like to defend, oh, it got fixed later. I'm like, yes, it did, but that's not the point at all. It was never supposed to release in this state at launch. It was never supposed to launch buggy and broken. And it was never supposed to be a huge disappointment. They were supposed to spend as much time as possible perfecting this game so that it could be the best game as it can. And so that's why I'm just annoyed because people don't get that back in the day, the games were released in a really good state where there are just so many minimal glitches, where it's just a visual glitch. A good example of this is Horizon Forbidden West. And if you haven't played Horizon Forbidden West, there's a glitch that started about the first week or two. And it had to do with Aloy's hair in the game. It was very finicky, it went up and down, it glitched in many scenes. Even though it wasn't game-breaking, it still was a visual glitch. And that is a great thing with patches these days. I get that, is that you can just go in and patch the game. But the thing is, that wasn't a game-breaking bug. The thing about Cyberpunk, though, is that there are so many bugs that broke the game, especially on old-gen consoles. And that makes me mad because it never was supposed to be like that. They were supposed to spend more time creating this and patching it out before the launch. And that is kind of just annoying to me that they just decide to just fix it later. And I'm like, no, you need to fix it at launch. The point of these games is that you're supposed to fix them and have them in a playable state at launch. Otherwise, what's the point of buying them? If it's going to be a great game 8 months from now, buy the game 8 months from now. There's no rush to get on day one, especially if it's going to be broken. People just have no patience and they want to have the thing right away. And that's kind of was the deal with Cyberpunk and many other of these games is that they wanted to release the game immediately without waiting because it pleased investors. They wanted to make the most money out of it possible, especially with Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. Let's say that released around November or December because they wanted to complete the earnings call in their quarterly report. And it wasn't really fair. And so that's what makes me mad is that many people defend these games because they're like, oh, it's impossible to make a game that's without. I'm like, no. Games should not be filled with bugs, glitches, and crashes at launch. Maybe minimal ones, yes, where it's like a visual glitch or maybe a fancy bug where you glitch through a wall, but those things aren't really game breaking. I'm talking about ones that completely crash the console and you can't really have much to it. And so that's kind of like what I'm annoyed about because it just, I don't know, it is not fair. And so that was kind of like the deal with it. Hopefully you guys are doing well. And I just wanted to defend that title because I don't like games finishing broken and people defending it thinking it's like, oh, it's a normal thing. No, it's not a normal thing, and it should not be a normal thing to even defend these companies saying that. They need to finish in a playable state, not one where it crashes the game or just ends up with like 200 bugs and glitches the game where it's barely even funny and playable anymore. And so that's kind of like my gripe with all of it, because it never should be happening in the first place. And I really don't like people defending, oh, it got patched 8 months later and it's now playable. I'm like, yeah, now I can buy the game 8 months later, but why should I buy the game at launch if it's going to be buggy and broken? I just don't get their logic. It just doesn't make sense to me. Remember back in the day when, let's say, Spider-Man on a PlayStation 2, you wanted to have more Spider-Man, you would play Spider-Man 2. And they had barely any bugs and glitches. If they did have a bug and glitch, oh well, it's not that big of a deal. Just play the game and it'll be a funny video later on. But games like Anthem, Cyberpunk, Fallout, all these where it's like not even funny that they included unplayable games, it shouldn't be acceptable in this gaming industry. And that's why I defend against it, because it should not be happening at all. And so that's kind of like my rant about it, because I've heard so many people say, oh, it got fixed later, it's fine now. And I'm just sick of it, because I don't accept that, and I don't accept those people that say it, because it's not fair. Because it should not even be happening in the first place. And people need to accept that, and I vote with my wallet. That's why I don't buy these games at all. So, anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well, and hopefully you guys have a great week, and just staying safe and having fun, and just being well overall with family, friends, and all your hobbies. So with lots of love and respect, I will see you guys later. Peace out and bye.